Hello and welcome to Face to Face. It's the first edition since we saw a leader of the legislature that is different from the leader of the executive since Ghana's records started. Indeed, it is stranger moments ahead. My name is Umaru Sanda-Amadu. My guest today is a member of the leadership of the House. We'll find out how the House is going to negotiate that slippery slope. Alexander Afenyo Markin is the NPP Member of Parliament for Efutu, also known as Winneba, but he is also now the Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, or rather, let me say, the Deputy Leader of the NPP caucus in the House, because it has become a controversial one. Sir, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you, and I appreciate being on your program, and I hope you're going to have a fruitful engagement.
I hope so too. It has been very difficult the past few weeks conducting interviews with MPs. The NDC MPs referred to Haruna Idrisu as the majority leader. The NPP MPs referred to Osechi Mensah-Bonsu as the majority leader. I know it's an issue of numbers, but who really has the majority in the House? Electoral Commission's official figures put you at 137, 137.
Well, I don't see where the controversy is. The position of the standing orders is very clear. That the party with the highest numerical strength forms the majority. The provision defines who a majority leader is. And you can juxtapose that and get the true meaning without any struggle. So if you read and construe the provision under Order 7, where it talks about a party or parties, the independent member of Parliament has elected to caucus with the MPP. Now, to the extent that that decision remains so, it increases our numerical strength. To the extent that he comes under our whip, and by so doing, our number increases from 137 to 138. The obvious result is that we become the majority. But you see, sometimes we don't need to break our shoulders over this matter. I'm sure the time will come for a determination to be made. I don't see how the NDC can argue that they are in majority. I don't see how they can make that argument.
They've made a futuristic argument, and they are banking their hopes on Sefiri also, Techiman South. We don't know when these determinations will be made.
We have a gazetted result. We have a communication to the clerk. We've been sworn in. If for nothing at all, they should look at the numbers and straight away come to such a conclusion that they are not in majority.
They argue, the standing order you refer to, the clause you refer to, they say that it talks about parties. The Formina MP is not a party, strictly speaking. And so, again, he is not a member of your party.
A literalist is likely to fall into that trap. But a reasonable man who would want to give a purposive and a workable interpretation would come to a conclusion as I have done. And that is to say that that provision is under the interpretation column of the standing orders. Mm-hmm. And the standing orders haven't interpreted that to mean that a party or parties. Now, if you come to Parliament, you come either on the ticket of a party or as an independent candidate. Therefore, a construction of that party or parties must include
Independent
member
parties.
of parliament who is, or members of parliament who are independent members of parliament. And if they all decide to join a particular political party, and by so doing, their numerical strength surpasses the other political party with, say, 50 MPs, and say another political party has 40, but independent members of parliament making 12, if they all decide to join and caucus with the party with 40 seats, straight away they become the majority, and they become the party with the highest numerical strength,
regardless of whether that party's president is in office or not. So that what I'm saying is that, does the leadership or the majorityship of parliament have anything to do with who is in the Jubilee House?
within the practical meaning of what we are discussing, it wouldn't matter. Although the standing order had envisaged the minority leader to mean
The opposition
the
party.
party other than the one forming the government. But if you look at it broadly and you want to talk about the numerical strength, then you should be directed on that path. Because a party in parliament with a lesser numerical strength, it doesn't matter whether that party has the presidency. It is in minority in parliament. Simplicity. I think that in the construction of these phrases, you know, at the time we were looking at the Westminster system, and then again we're looking at the American executive system of governance, and perhaps we didn't really pay attention. Because in the UK, the Westminster system, the party in government
Is a majority party.
or the parties that form the government constitute the majority. It is those who don't have the strength, the numerical strength, to form government that become the minority.
So they can even be a coalition and they'll form the government.
Of course, that
becomes
was the
majority
earlier
side.
explanation I gave.
Now, let's talk about the practicalities of the House. Does the standing orders also say or says, okay, does it say that the majority should be on the right side of the speaker?
Well, it provides
Okay.
that, you know, you sit on the right of this.
On inauguration night, the NDC occupied the right side. Your side occupied the left side. That means, based on that picture, you are in the minority and they are in the majority. Now that you're making the argument you're making, are you going to struggle for those seats? Are you going to insist on occupying those seats because that's what the law says it must be? Considering that you still hold the view that you are the majority.
We ensure decency and civility. They knew they had nothing to lose. The Constitution provides that the president must be sworn in Parliament. Parliament must be in session for the president-elect to take his oath. They knew that without Parliament, there was going to be constitutional crisis. They set some traps on the way. You look at the videos, they were virtually lawless, punching and hitting people. They got in, quickly occupied, and said they were in majority, knowing that they are not in majority. And the whole agenda was to obstruct the process, to make Parliament ungovernable. So we sat back and said, look, we needed to ensure some safe landing. We had the presidency to be sworn in. You had over 12 heads of state in the country. Should we go along, should we punch harder for there to be power vacuum By the way, that was what they were planning to achieve anyway.
If you had attempted to
Well,
evacuate
that
them
would
or
mean
evict
if-
them from the
if-
seats they were occupying.
Of course, that would mean that we won't get up, and at the end of the day, we can't have our own oath being taken. We wouldn't have a speaker. If we don't have a speaker, if we don't have members of parliament
There can't be a
convening,
house.
there cannot be the swearing in of the president.
So you let it slide.
We let it slide because at the end of the day, Order 5 provides that in the event of controversy, speaker will rule, and his determination of the matter brings a finality.
So,
we-
does the new speaker now have to rule on who sits on his right side?
that is if they do what they did last Thursday. If on Friday they rush to go and sit there again, we're not going to fight. It's a matter of law. We'll get up and push forward our argument and tell Mr. Speaker that, look, the independent member of parliament has elected to caucus with us. The independent member of parliament is with us. By that, we are in majority. We are 138. We invite you, Mr. Speaker, to rule that the MPP and its ally, the independent member of parliament, constitute the majority. As such, make an order to the effect that we are to sit to your right, and all other consequential orders that would flow therefrom, committee formation and all that.
So it makes you, if the speaker rules in your favor that you form the majority, it means you chair all the committees. Is that what it means? Or
Yes, I mean, obvious, the rule allows...
Except the committees that are supposed to be chaired by the
Yes,
minority. You chair...
Yes,
So
obvious.
if the NDC's argument holds that they are the majority or there is no majority, how would the chairing of the committees happen?
We would have to meet and determine it.
So you may have to share the chairman amongst yourselves.
It is possible.
You're going to have a difficult parliament.
I
aren't you?
don't see a difficult parliament. You see, sometimes the gallery optician has his own way of looking at the political stage and the play. We are the actors. And I can tell you that
You have your scripts ready.
by the nature of our politics, Parliament sits in committee. Then we come to the plenary. Listen, just a few of the items are the items that perhaps we may have serious disagreement on. But I cannot foresee an NDC side coming to insist that we are not going to pass appropriation for what I'll call shaggy reasons or for political reasons. Even there will be a backlash in the media. Media will ask, what is your basis? Social commentators will ask questions. Civil society will ask questions. So whilst we are in that theater, the audience are watching. If you are going wayward, they will tell you. So the reasonability test will come to play in the kind of politics that they will do.
Let me push this scenario
People may
further.
think that frustrate, this is going to, yes. They may attempt. But once we are firm and defend the position, trust me, there is no way government business can be frustrated.
Let me push this scenario a bit further.
Please do.
If Speaker Bagman on Friday says, listen, we do not have a clear-cut majority because it's a hung parliament, despite the fact that you have an independent MP on your side. He can only vote, but he's not really strictly your party member. And that if he reads the language in its plain terms, and it's not supposed to be party, it's not supposed to be party and independent. And he says that the framers of the law would have said party and or independent. He would say that no one is majority, or even goes ahead to accept the NDC's verdict that they are the majority. How is the House going to look like?
You see, the House is guided by precedents. I have had the privilege of reading the Hansard of 9th of January 2009. And I've read and reread the argument of the Right Honorable Speaker, then as a majority leader, in the Samia Yaba Nkrumah case. And all the arguments he canvassed then are the very position I hold today.
And the scenario at the time was that what? Samia was a CPP MP elect?
Samia wanted to be independent. She
not join any of the two parties.
She didn't want to be on either side. She said that I am here, and the position was made clear to her that in Parliament, that was a test. In Parliament, you are either with the majority or the minority. Simplicity.
She said she couldn't.
No, but eventually, when the speaker put it to her, she elected to be with the minority. You get my point? Even in that situation, the question of sitting with a side and deciding to work with them, that look, an argument was made that, well, sitting with a side does not necessarily mean that you are working with that side. And bear in mind that the Constitution talks about joining. That if you go in as an independent member of parliament and you decide to join a political party, you lose your seat. That is different from deciding to caucus or work together with a particular caucus.
But the difficulty in the example you're citing is that Samia represented the convention.
The issue so now is not about being there as a party MP or an independent MP.
Okay.
The issue is about joining, where you elect to join.
Okay.
That would lead to the swing.
So you advance the argument to Speaker Bagby and say, listen, in 2009, this is what you said. But if that notwithstanding, he still says, no, I hold the view that
let's get to that bridge.
We should wait till we get that.
Let's get to that bridge and cross it.
But it's not going to be a difficult house for you think?
You know, you are being hypothetical. And I'm saying that let's wait and get there. But if I should be guided by real situations, then what I've given you is sufficient. I've given you sufficient record on his position, and I don't see how that position will change today.
This is Face to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sandamad. My guest is Alexander Afenyo Markin. He's a Vutu MP, but also Deputy Leader of the House on the NPP side. I do not want to commit myself by suggesting whether he's majority or minority. When did you know that you're going to be a leader of the House? In the last Parliament. You're just a common floor member.
Well, in Masonic circles, we say patience in industry.
You're referring here to the Masons?
Yes, I said in Masonic circles.
Yes, I just wanted to be sure what you're referring to.
In Masonic circles,
okay,
we say patience in industry. Yes, when we came to Parliament in 2013, we enjoyed the debates, the opportunity given us. And when the party got the opportunity in 2017, the expectation was that we'll have the opportunity to occupy a position that would enable us do more floor work. So, to me, the party having decided eventually to give me the opportunity did not come as a surprise, because, you know, they say, man, know thyself. And I know that I love parliamentary work. I love the floor work. I enjoy the debates. Of course, debate on issues, not, you know, going personal. And if at this point my party holds a view that joining other colleagues to play that role is the best for the party, why not?
Did you have to lobby for this?
In politics, you engage colleagues. You don't necessarily need to lobby. You engage. And as you keep working, people get to know you of your preference. And people get to assess you and can come to a certain conclusion. So the most important thing is that the party has decided to put me there.
So you lobbied for it and the party accepted the lobbying?
I don't need to lobby.
Did you put
and I didn't need to lobby.
Did you have to propose or make a request to the party that I want to hold this position or that?
I I'm unable to discuss the inner workings of
Okay.
our party. You know, it starts from the region. You know, the region makes a certain representation, and it is discussed at higher levels. I'm not too sure I would want to put that out, but if, in simple terms, if you want to know whether or not I went in demanding or insisting, then that was not the case.
This is face-to-face on City TV. We came demanding to speak to him, and he has agreed or obliged us. Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin. I'll be back when we come back. I'm going to ask him the first test of his leadership, where he had to insist that someone be removed from the house. That failed. Now there was chaos in the house. How come? If he is a leader, that his house was boiling on inauguration night. Don't go away.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We live in a world where news travels fast, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Fact Finder brings fact-checking from the newsroom up close so you can separate truth from chaff. Be empowered to tell what's fake from what's real. Watch Fact Finder by the BBC on City TV every Wednesday at 6 p.m. City TV. It's your world.
You're welcome back to Face to Face on City TV. My guest is Deputy Leader of the MPP caucus in Parliament, Alex Afenyo.
I insist
Markin.
on being addressed as a Deputy Majority Leader.
I would leave it.
I would no.
I would leave it for the Speaker to
don't-
determine on Friday, and then
Don't
after
be
that, I will
don't
be
be
guided
carried
by that.
away by join this argument of the NDC.
You are a lawyer.
Are you
know.
able to call the NDC majority? Are
No.
you able to call the NDC majority?
I'm not able to call either of the two
no.
parties.
Are you
majority.
able to call the NDC majority?
No.
And are you aware that practically the independent member of parliament sat with us?
You see, you are.
Are you aware?
You are a lawyer.
Are
Yes,
you aware?
I know he has
Are you
publicly
aware?
said that he
Are-
will
are
sit
you-
with
are you aware?
But I'm also aware that
And
he needs
I
to
have-
write
I have
formally
just-
to
I
the
have-
Speaker.
I have
He
just
hasn't done that,
informed
has he?
you. I have just informed you of a precedent in 2009.
Yes, which president referred to a political
Right,
party,
so-
not an independent MP.
And I'm saying that construe that party or parties to include a member of parliament who enters parliament as an independent member of parliament and has elected
Okay.
to join one side. If he has elected to join one side, and that side by that arrangement becomes the party with the highest numerical strength, so be it. In any case, I agree with you that you want to see from him a formal letter to the Speaker communicating such intention to enable you come to a conclusion that...
No, that's not what will make me...
That's what you are saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That first
But you
of
don't
all,
need to wait for that.
No, I'm saying two things.
Samuel didn't need to write.
I am saying two things.
Yes.
He has publicly told the media that he will sit with the MPP. That has been...
He's caucusing with it.
Yes, he'll sit with the... Well, he caucusing. That's a term to use. Now, he's yet to write formally to the Speaker. I'm told he needs to do that. I do not know whether he has or not. That's one. Two, you are a lawyer. If there's a case pending, we wait for the judgment to be made, and then we are advised by same. On Friday, Speaker Bagman makes a decision, and we move on with that. Whether you are the
If that is
deputy
your
majority
position,
leader
so be it. But I
or not.
disagree with you.
So I'll call you MP for for a photo, just so that we do not end up having a debate
So
on this
you
show.
are talking. What would be the consequence of addressing me as a deputy majority?
I'll refer to you as a deputy leader of the
What I'm saying, what would be the
MPP
consequence?
caucus.
What would be the
Let's
consequence?
proceed. On inauguration night, you failed in your attempt to remove the Asin North MP elect from the House. Now, does that mean that the House is condoning an illegality, because you made the point that his presence in that chamber that night was an illegality?
Well, posterity will be kind to the MPP side for ensuring the fidelity of the law. We raised the matter, and the clerk ruled on the matter and subsequently set out some conditions. I don't see any failure in any way. It's another test for us. And to me, everything that happened there has been captured by Hansen. I've had a case at the Supreme Court before where I labored on the House floor, and based on rulings of Mr. Speaker, my labor was in vain. But I didn't give up. I went to the Supreme Court. The records became a source of reference for their decision. We came for them, took it back, and on the basis of the records, a decision was made. That was that famous fisherman's case, Eyi Mensah, and we won. The Electoral Commission was stopped. So to me, there's no problem at all. The gentleman sent his lawyers to court. His lawyers came back knowing that this is the decision of the court. Granted, he was not there and he was not on actual notice. He was on constructive notice. He entered the parliament. The clerk read out the order. So again, he was on actual notice. If he says, I want to proceed to defy the law at my peril, like his leader told him, that he has explained to him. That's why at a point I told Haruna that you are a lawyer. Are you saying that in view of the order, you still, for political expedience, want your member to be here? And quickly, you see how he protected his image? He said, no, he's explained the consequences to the gentleman. So let us see what happens in court.
Haruna Idrisu was making a case for his party and the base of his party. They needed the numbers to elect their proposed speaker. You should have worked harder for your party to prevent that gentleman from voting, because in the numbers we had in Parliament, every single vote mattered, and indeed, as in not vote mattered that night. You, perhaps, as your first leadership test, has failed the party at the base and also the party in Parliament, so that today you do not have a speaker on your side.
That I disagree. You see, the law may be slow, but it can hit hard. When you raise a legal argument and an ombudsman is unable to rule in your favor or is unable to accept that invitation in its entirety, it doesn't amount to failure on your part. All right? If you raise a legal argument, the clerk has tendered that document, has tabled it. It is a genuine document. And somebody decides to act lawless. There are consequences. It may come belated, but eventually there will be consequences.
Do you subscribe to the school of thought that says when you see a law being broken, prevent it at all costs, and don't fold your arms and be reading the Constitution to the lawbreaker?
You see, did you do everything to stop, everything reasonably expected of you to stop it? I'm not the marshal. Mine is to raise a legal argument. It is for the clerk and the marshal to give effect to the law.
NDC MPs have said the reason that they knocked down the voting booth and the ballot box is because they believe that election was an illegality. And if there's an illegality ongoing, you should do everything humanly possible to stop it. You should have physically removed the man if you thought that he was a stranger in that chamber.
My training will not allow me to behave that way. If somebody believes that being lawless and being physical is the way to ensure the wrong is right, I'm sorry, that's not what I subscribe to. And that is not the MPP character. They believe in lawlessness, so be it. it does not mean that a man who is vigilant in equity must act lawless. That is not the rule. That is not it. So they got it very wrong, shamelessly routing in the chamber, disgracing Parliament, embarrassing themselves. That is totally wrong, and it must be condemned.
Even if
it does not mean that they were taking the right step to stop an illegality. What was illegal about the voting?
They said the vote was not secret, and you know that the laws of Ghana provide for secret balloting. That was being flouted, and they had to fight it. And they did.
In other jurisdictions, you clock, and immediately you clock, your name appears, which side you voted for, and the secret ballot. You see, they came in with the idea to ambush, to create constitutional crisis, and we saw through that. It included the routing that took place on the House floor. I believe that at the appropriate time, what ought to be said to them will be said to them.
If you didn't
on the
have,
House floor.
If you didn't have an investiture staring you in the face, would you have fought harder than you did in the chamber?
I have told you that our side needed to have a safe landing to avoid a power vacuum. All right? And politically, we were to conduct ourselves in a manner that would get us to a safe landing spot so that the president could be sworn in. They had nothing to lose. I've said it at the beginning of this interview, that they had nothing to lose. They were exploring the option of demonstration. Public opinion was against them, so they couldn't do it. They explored an option of a parallel swearing in, that as, you know, Nanado was taking his oath, they would swear in their flag bearer. And you recall that Inusef Husseini had canvassed that. Now, when they realized that none of those received the support of the citizens of Ghana, they now felt that, well, in the chamber, this is another option for us. And that was what they were determined to do.
Who summoned the soldiers into the chamber?
I'm unable to discuss those matters.
But you don't know who it is?
I'm saying that I'm unable to discuss those matters. What I know is that the routing of the NDC MPs was getting out of hand. All of us were in danger. If I say all of us, I mean MPP, NDC, officers of parliament. All of us were in danger. All of us were in danger. The routing must be looked at. And I am surprised that their flag bearer did not issue any statement condemning the conduct of his party people.
As an MP, protector of parliament, do you support the presence of the soldiers in the chamber or the appearance of the soldiers in the chamber?
I have explained to you earlier that all of us were in danger. And the question is, what did they come to do?
At the end of the day,
did they come to attack an MPP MP or an NDC MP or any officer of parliament? Or they were in there to support the marshals to protect all of us?
It was unlawful. The marshal has said to me in an interview that he did not sanction their presence in the chamber. Do you support the presence of the soldiers in the chamber?
You said you interviewed the marshal.
Chief marshal,
and
Colonel Buntugu, has said to me
that
he did not sanction the arrival of the soldiers in the chamber.
Well, that is marshal.
He has spoken he's a chief marshal. He's the head of security of parliament.
That is his position.
No, it's not his position. It's a position of the House of Parliament, of which he is a chief security man. And he has said he did not sanction, and he has said that it is upon his request that any officer of the law can come in there. Even his men are unarmed. The parliamentary police unit ought to get permission from him before they go in. This did not happen. Soldiers stormed the chamber. And I'm asking as a member of parliament, do you support that?
If he says that he didn't sanction, perhaps you may have to probe him the more to explain to you the circumstances that led to the soldiers coming in to support his own team. All right? House of Parliament is for MPs. Ordinarily, the security of parliamentarians within the chamber is provided for by the Marshal and his team. We have police officers. Some of them sit at the gallery. Some of them are in plain clothes, some of them in uniform. They sit among the visitors. People don't know them. What do? They are there to protect us. All right? If you are saying that the Marshal says he was not against any security officer, it's not only soldiers that entered the chamber to give additional protection. Police officers were there. Plainclothes officers were there.
You still haven't answered whether you support it or not.
No. I have given you sufficient explanation. Which explanation is, all of us were in danger. The Marshal was helpless. One of the Marshals was hit. He fell. He was pushed. He was helpless. The police officers were helpless. Jethro, the table office head, was hit. Go and watch the video.
But still, the
wait. The clerk himself was hit when he was taking the order to Harun Idrisu. So if the view is that under those prevailing circumstances, there was no such requirement for a further boost because things had escalated. And if anybody is saying that at that point, there was no need to boost or beef up security, then I'm afraid that person would not be acting fairly.
Okay.
The issue is not about why they are coming in. Don't look at the form, look at the substance.
Okay.
Did they come in to molest one side against the
There are
other?
people who said there should be a probe into what happened, including the arrival of the soldiers in the chamber. Is that a thought you'll be buying?
For me, anything that as Parliament we can do to ensure decency going forward, we must. The House has what it takes to ensure law and order. I'm sure that now that there's a speaker, it does not require a third person to make such a call. It is for the speaker and leadership to come to a certain understanding of how to go about things going forward.
You do not approve of a probe, do you?
I am saying that the speakership and the leadership have the capacity to ensure decency
Do we know as of
and
now,
ensure law and order.
from the leadership side, do you know as of now who ordered the soldiers in the chamber?
I am saying that as part of ensuring law and order going forward, we have a speaker who is the head of this assembly with the leadership on both sides to look at all things that did not go well and ensure that these things do not reoccur.
Okay.
The most important thing is all of us were in an escalated state of insecurity. And I've underscored the fact that marshals themselves were being threatened
Okay.
and were being assaulted and being molested and being disrespected by the NDC members of Parliament elect. The clerk to Parliament was assaulted. The head of table office was assaulted.
So the end justifies the means.
Therefore, the state of insecurity as was created is a matter that requires further interrogation.
Okay.
And if for nothing at all, security officers coming in to, as it were, protect us and help in ensuring sanity
It's a welcome decision.
must be construed to mean that they were all there to work together with the marshals to ensure the peace of the House floor.
When we come back, I'll ask him how working with a speaker who is from another party is going to be like. Plus, did Carlos Ahinkra really chew those ballot papers? And what is going to happen to him?
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
You're welcome back to Face to Face. Let's conclude this interview now. Carlos Ahinkra, is it the case that Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, your leader, instructed him to do what he did? We've seen video and people have made commentary suggesting that he was under instruction to snatch the uncounted ballot papers.
Don't be misled by the NDC propaganda. I am surprised at you. NDC started routing. NDC on 3 occasions obstructed the process of voting. You are not talking about it.
When I get the NDC leaders, I'll ask them those questions.
You are not talking about it.
I'll speak to NDC leaders about that.
Members of Parliament assaulted female MPs on our side. Ashama MP assaulted Eslawusu, pulled a chair.
I've seen a picture of Eslawusu sitting on a male MP.
I am saying, because he deliberately went to sit there.
No problem. I'll speak to NDC leaders when I get them.
What Ashama MP had done.
Tell me about Carlos Ahinkra. Did you approve as leadership that should do what he did?
I am saying that from where I stood, I couldn't have reasonably seen anything of Carlos Ahinkra.
Did you see the video?
In any event, hold on. In any event, it would be wrong for anybody to attempt accusing Honorable Chairman of Bonsu of any involvement, i.e. sanctioning somebody's conduct. He's a member of our party, he's a member of our caucus, and I'm sure that leadership will have an engagement with him, and when we meet in the chamber, what ought to be said will be said.
Will he be punished?
I'm unable to say that. I'm unable to say that with respect.
You do not also know whether he was told to do what he did?
It's not a matter of, I do not know whether who was told by who.
By Oseche Mensah-Bonsu.
Please, come on, that is far-fetched.
That's a video. That's what the video is suggesting. That's what the commentary supports.
No, he can.
So you can say that is not true.
You know that to be the case.
I do not know. I do not have evidence to support either.
But you don't have evidence to support the fact that he.
Yes.
So
that's
leave
what
it as it is.
I'm asking you.
No, if you know that the evidence is not there, then let's draw an irresistible conclusion.
Your deputy whip has said to me, and this Habib of Tolong, that there was no election of a speaker on that day and that you guys arrived at a conclusion or a consensus. Now, how is it that we saw 2 people go into a race? We saw people being called out from A to Z to come and vote. And we saw counting or sorting being done and counting. Why are we hearing that you didn't elect a speaker, but you chose a speaker?
We are the masters of our own rules.
So you can vote and say we are not declaring the vote.
We are the masters of our own rules.
Wow, that's weird, isn't it?
We are the masters of our own rules. No matter how you want to say it. We are the masters of our own rules. We come to a decision that would help advance the cause of democracy and parliamentary jurisprudence. And that is what happened. The clerk read it out. The Honorable Member for Swami, the majority leader, also re-echoed that in an interview. And that is the position.
In conclusion, how do you envisage working with Bagbin to be like? You've worked with him as a second deputy speaker. Now he's the boss.
Bagman is a politician. We are politicians. We know our patriotic duty. I cannot foresee him frustrating government business, or I cannot foresee him frustrating parliamentary work. You see, when Alajete was coming, his coming was viewed with a lot of apprehension. But eventually, even the NDC side fell in love with him. The way the Speaker's office works, it's said that if you decide to be biased, you'll be seen and people will call you out. Mr. Bagman, after 28 years of parliamentary experience, I cannot foresee him playing with his image and reputation. So I can foresee a smooth running of the House.
Okay.
A good working relationship that would benefit the people of Ghana.
Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin, thank you for coming on Face to Face.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Maru. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Hope to see you more active in the chamber. That's Deputy Leader of the MPP caucus in Parliament, NP for Efutu, lawyer Alexander Afenyo Markin. My name is Umaru Sandamadu. Thank you for watching Face to Face. More coming your way on City TV. It's your world.